Hello, welcome to this channel. Our topic of discussion as at this moment is triad. Triad. When we talk of triad, what is triad? Triad consists of three notes stacked in consecutive third. I believe you can see your screen. Triad means what? Triad, that is T-R-I-A-D-S. Triads. It means what? Three notes that are stacked in consecutive third. That is, they are arranged one after the other. They are arranged on top of each other, leaving a gap. Three of them. Between the first and the second, there is a gap. Between the second and the third, there is a gap. That is what is meant by being stacked in consecutive thirds. I hope it is clear. By the time you take a look at it, the distance, the interval between the first and the second node is an interval of a third. That is G, then A follows, then we have B as the next node. That is why we call it a third. Now, you take a look at it from the second to the last node, the second node to the third node. You still have an interval of a third. That is the third, that is B. Then after B, you have C, then D follows. That is why we call this word a consecutive third, the distance of a consecutive third. So, the triad, we also call it chord, and at the same time, we also call it harmony. From what we have here, a triad consists of three notes stacked in consecutive thirds. A triad is also called a chord as well as harmony. Harmony also refers to as chord progression. That is another way we make use of that word. That is that word harmony. Can also be seen as what? Chord progression. I hope it is clear. Then the lowest note of a triad, when it is stacked in third, is called the root. That is this lowest one, this first one is called the root. Then we have the third, and we have the fifth. The root. The middle note is what? Is the third. And the highest note of the triad is the fifth. I hope that everything that is written here is very clear now. The root, the third, and the fifth. That is the first note of the lowest note of a triad is called the root, while the middle is called the third, and the upper one is called what? The fifth. I hope this is clear. Now, take a look at this. Take a look at this. This is also an explanation of a triad. This is the keyboard approach of explaining it. By the time we're using the keyboard approach, we are explaining it on the keyboard. We have this. We have the first note, that is what? C. Then we have E. Then we have G. That is, we are playing it on the keyboard. We are playing a triad. We are sounding a triad on the keyboard. You have to arrange your fingers in such a way that there's going to be gap. You are going to give it gap. The first note, you have your thumb, then leave your next to your finger 2, then you go to finger 3, then leave finger 4, you use a finger what? Finger 5, and therefore the three of them at the same time sounded together. We see that activity as what? As a sounding what? A triad. You are harmonizing. You're playing harmony on the keyboard. Or it may not be keyboard only. It may be some other instruments. Might have the three notes at the same time. It is called what? Harmony. So now let's continue. When we talk of triad, we have primary triad and we have a secondary triad. But for now, let's talk about triad. At first, let's talk about primary triad. When we talk of primary triads are labeled 1, 4, and 5. Primary triads are labeled 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. I hope it is clear. They are seen as major triad. Primary triad are also called major triad. Primary triad are also called major triad. For clarification, study the following. Now look at this. These are a set of triads. Triad on the first degree of a particular scale, the scale of C to be precise. The first degree, second degree, third degree, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and the last note, that is the eighth note. I hope it is clear. Now, look at this. The first one, that is the first set of notes that is called a triad, is called 1. It is called 1. Then this one is called 4. Why is it called 1? It is called 1 because it is the first, it is built on the first note. And this one is called 4 because it is built on the fourth note. And this is the fifth, because it is, you can see the triad built on the fifth note. So 1, 4, and 5. If we refer to it as, we refer to them as chord. We call them what? Chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. I hope it is clear. So chord 1, chord 4, chord 5, they are known as what? Primary triads. I hope it is clear. Now let's continue. Let's continue. Now another example is this. The same thing we had here is what is here. Now look at it. Chord 1, then chord 4, chord 5. This one is the repetition of this, because these and these, they are the same note. Only the distance, the octave, is the difference. This is the middle octave and this is the upper octave. I hope it is clear. So that is it. That is it. Now let's talk about what we call a secondary triad. You know, I said triad, we have it in, in two categories. The primary triad and the secondary triad. We have done all this before, but let's just take a look at it again. Now, secondary triad. The secondary triad are labeled 2, 3, and 6, and they are known as what? As minor triads. They are known as what? Minor triad. For clarification, study the following. Now, look at this. You know, the other time we were talking about a primary triad, we said chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. Now, here we have 2 is minor triad, that is secondary triad. Then 3 is also what? Secondary triad. Then 6 is also secondary triad. Then this one, 7th. 7th is diminished. Is a diminished triad. But at the same time, it is rarely used, and it is rarely used, and that is why we will not say categorically it is a secondary triad, but it is still what? A triad. So we have secondary triad, we have chord 2, chord 3, and chord 6. So these are what? Secondary triad. Now let's take a look at this. Just for further clarification and more to further the explanation. This one is what is chord 1. It is primary triad. This one is what? Chord 2. Chord 6. Chord 6, and it is what? Secondary triad. This one is chord 4. It is primary triad. This one is chord 2. It is what? Secondary triad. Then this one is what? Chord 5. It is what? Primary triad. You can see all those of them that are primary triad, they are the one below, indicated below. That is primary triad. And those of secondary triad, they are indicated at the top. Can you see it now? So that is that. Now, after this, now the next thing we are going to have is what we call inverted triad. When we talk of inverted triad, inversion simply means what? You change the position of the root. You change the position of the root. Now, an inverted triad does not have the root as the lowest note. Does not have the root as the lowest note. It is important to distinguish between root and base. The root of the chord is the lowest note when the notes are stacked in thirds. The base is the lowest note, which might be the root, the third, or the fifth. What are we trying to say there? Now look at this picture. Look at this picture. Here you have the root position. This is chord 1. But do you know what? The root is the root position because the root is the first note. And it is in third. It is in third. It is in third. Now look at this. This one is first inverted. The same chord 1, But here you have first inversion. First inversion in the sense that the first node is positioned at the top. That is, it is shifted to the top of the remaining two. If you take a look at this, go back to lines and spaces. You have this one as C. Now, if you take a look at this also, it is also C. So they are the same node, only that the position is the difference. Now, look at this also. Look at this. This one is known as the second inversion. Second inversion is the sense that this second node is positioned to the top. It is placed on top. And there is no way I want to write a second inversion without having to do with the first inversion. So it is from this first inversion you have the second inversion. Look at it. You just pick from here. This third node. I mean, the second node from the. If we take a look at it from the root position, this second node. No, it is the second node in the root position. The second node is now placed on the top as the last node. Therefore, that is why it is called what? Second inverse. That is what you inverse the second node of the triad to be the top. You shift it to the top. That is why it is called what? Second inversion. Now, let's take a look at what is written here. The bottom, the middle, the top. The bottom is what? Is C from your lines and spaces. The middle is what? E. And the top is what? G. Now look at this. By the time we have first inversion, E is going to be the bottom. Then G is going to be the middle. And C is going to be the top. By the time we have a second inversion, G is the bottom. That is the bottom node. Then the middle node is going to be what? C. Then the top node is going to be what? E. I hope this is clear. So that is that about what? About inverted triad. Apart from inverting, this is chord 1. We have inverted chord 1. We can invert chord 4. We can invert chord 5. So all those chords, any of them can be inverted. And when it is inverted, it enables you to do what? To play your chord on the keyboard easily, without having to having to lift your hand when you are playing. You just be playing as if you are not even lifting your hand. You are using what? You are using inversion. So inversion brings about what? Convenience. Then we also use inversion in harmony to harmonize, that is to give part to different voices. By the time we are dealing with voice. I hope it is clear. So for clear understanding and more to remind you of the lines and spaces, we have the appendix here. The appendix, the lines and spaces. The treble clef is being used here. The bass clef is being used here. I hope it is clear. So that is that about this topic. Thank you.